All right, I am back. Are we all ready to get going with this trial here? Let me hear some hype in the chat. Come on now. I cannot spell the word knife, unfortunately. I guess we'll have to play a hangman's gambit. Nah, I'm ready. So let's do it. February 20th, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. I needed that break. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We are on a study tour of Great Britain, with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but to a person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research might seem a little crass. Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning! Ah, Mr. Natsume, good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? I don't know, any literature people in the chat? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. Unfortunate, Paper Star. I feel you. I'm a tech guy, but I do enjoy a good read every now and then. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. Oh, really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I? Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me. It's because the Reaper isn't... Lord Van Zieks? Is that right, Miss Susato? I purchased many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zieks is on the front page of everyone. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something different. Similar, didn't he? It's literature. A trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zieks' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. That's a good question, Paper Star. I've never thought about it. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon, for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they're all speculating various answers. Mundane? Mundane? It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us. Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, it's you! Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Please, I don't rub shoulders with the bringers. I'm afraid there's only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Well, let's not get literature and great literature conflated. Sorry. The mic is more sensitive than I thought. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive. Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student new to London, with little of the way of experience, or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight in your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Naruhodo Esquire. Stop stumbling, I'm not. You're not alone with us, or whatever she said. You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we'll always be on your side. Oh, benevolent, non-locum assistant, Miss Miko Toba Esquires. I am in your debt. Forever, I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. The fourth session is about to begin. Plan to make your way into the courtroom at once. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes. Let's do this, Zounds. This is it. A second appearance in a British courtroom. A second trial against the Reaper. There's a discussion to be had on that for sure. I think it would benefit everyone to bring in more of a variety of things into the classroom. But the thing is, you never know what you're going to care about until you've already read the thing. My personal view is that by virtue of genre, that does not make anything more inherently appealing to me than anything else. Does that make sense? The same way with music. One genre of music is not inherently more appealing to me than any other. So I think that while there should be a greater variety of things brought into the classroom in terms of literature. A greater variety of works and genres of works. I don't necessarily, and you should be able to report on them. I don't necessarily think you should always have the choice, if that makes sense. Because if you're never going to pick a certain thing because you get to pick from a wide variety of options, and you're always going to lean towards the thing that's most appealing to you, you miss out on things. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I stand by my saying that there should be more options and more variety of the things that we read in the classroom. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Let's do this. Let's go into the courtroom. 10 a.m. on the dot. Look at me. Oh, there he is. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are truly a fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you're a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Susato-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. Very true, and a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. God, I love him. He's so hot. I can't, guys. I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. I don't care that I did this already earlier.
I like this. This is cute. I want this inside of me.
The tragic conclusion came later, of course. That was a microaggression, yes. Here's to the acquitted, and his unfortunate violent end. I want to suck your blood. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? Are these the same? No, they're not. You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. But I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get, and I'm a peace-loved fellow. Wait a minute. I'm afraid to say I think it's quite possible that mustache foreigner did the deed. Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Eh? Sorry? Didn't quite catch that. Let us proceed. Your opening statement, to be pleased, Lord Van Zieks. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused from the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while I don't know, he kind of looks like the grandpa in Stardew Valley. And while our country has, I only saw him once, and I wasn't really paying that much attention. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Didn't even drink it. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. Knife crime. I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst bloody oath they are. Just look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Eh? Sorry? Didn't quite catch that. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. Dude, this guy's entire gimmick is he does something that is definitely not allowed in a court of law, and he's like, oops, sorry. And I love it. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Lead the inspector in, please. Yeah, no, everyone in this game, everyone in Britain is racist, pretty much. That's just the way it is. Your name and occupation, please. Okie doke, Robin. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I wonder what fitting name. Mads, you're playing Sonic Adventure 2? How about that?
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be.
Yes. Having been stabbed in the back by an attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. Yes, he does have chips. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. Oh, Timmy, I'm respecting your privacy by knocking, but asserting my authority as your parent by coming in anyway. And she's been comatose ever since. What? So they don't even know who she is for sure?
Comatose, I see, but is her life not in danger?
Fortunately for the Eastern student,
the charge will not be murder.
Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. Happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, please. What of the weapon that was used?
Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch, that big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. A heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scragged-looking Sozeki-san, I suppose. A common old garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector.
What accepts the blade as evidence?
Jackknife, yeah.
Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems that she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she'd have had anything much worth pinching, my lord.
I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment towards the victim?
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim. He does look like the Ouija, you're right. If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume have possibly had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested this man, in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Forgive me for smashing this. Oh my god. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred. I know it's unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed onto the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph of the crime. Dang.
Ah, yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector. You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat, denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
Well, forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but the defendant still is not denying everything, as you put it. What are you doing, Mr. Zato?
You go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Natsume? Well, now you mention it. When we visited him at the prison yesterday, he did tell us what it all happened. At least he was conscious. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there, so I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
A green overcoat.
Well, that's certainly what the woman in that print is wearing. It's Germa.
Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next?
The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. Why is she in the jury? That does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes. Ugh. It seems this examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. I can't read tonight, y'all. Sorry about that.
As I said,
there was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was an unusually light fog.
Hold it!
A light fog, you say? Well, in light for London. You can see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though. That's light, is it? For London? Around these parts, yes. Not something I expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course. I've read that London is famous for its fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance.
How quaint.
Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate. I see. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm.
Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling.
Ugh, that does sound like I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused.
Hold it!
Able to state it with any certainty. Quite simply, my learned friend. Because that's what the witnesses to this crime have told us. Ah yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard. That is correct, ma'am. Then we must hear their testimony. The prosecution will of course call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog was, and no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights. Ah, the prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Right.
Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. Well, I could just get through the fog of this crime examination, maybe we'll be able to. Seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock.
Continue with your testimony, Inspector.
Hold it!
From behind, you say? That's right, as you can see from this print.
Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in a critical condition, comatose no less.
I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's been treated at Bart's. Simpsons? I was hopeful that she'd come around before the trial, regardless so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be.
Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events.
Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. Ugh. The accused ran all. Oh, yep.
Hold it!
It's Natsu's belongings. I think you'll find us all there in a photographic print of the crime scene.
Yes, the 3 books on the floor.
That's right, my lord. Second-hand books, they were irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. Yeah, it's lack of confidence. Eventually, he'll have to find some confidence that stays with him, but for now, nope.
The accused could have easily carried all 3 books in one hand, which means
His other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with the books. He managed to close the one avenue of escape we thought we might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back?
That must be what happened, my lord, yes.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. Block's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must. I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Closest second-hand bookshop to the accused belongings is this place here, Bourbon Books. Little place on the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaum Street. Mr. Natsume's lot. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road, at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route in which he would have taken home. Something like this. I feel like they wouldn't mark Calabash Road unless it was important somehow.
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on the way home from that particular shop.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think what the inspectors told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree.
It's important. I need to look at the history again and make sure.
I feel like it's the location that would be important. I can't think of anything. Crucial detail is the location of the bookshop. I couldn't agree more. So, where is it exactly? Yeah? Are you winding me up, Sunshine? I just explained that. I got the map out and everything. Oh. The blunder of the day goes to you, my learned friend, not you. None. Alright, fine, I'll go back. Just a second. Oh, I didn't even notice that. I should have looked at that. My bad. At least it didn't take off a point for that. That would have been I would have been really embarrassed.
Hold it!
Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please. I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe. Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes. It'd be a very important clue.
Very well, not that I could see it being of any great significance, but please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
Nice. Welcome back, Robin.
Yes, sir, my lord.
Whatever you say.
Can man be any more sardonic? Didn't want to do that. Fine, I'll press E.
Objection!
If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 secondhand books. You found this in the accused. You found that in the accused's room, did you? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it.
Go on.
This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume.
Yes, my lord. So, Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a secondhand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop?
I'm not looking for Bourbon Books, I'm looking for Your Books. I'm not looking for your dad, I'm looking for my dad. Yes, sir. Your Books is another secondhand shop not that far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it. But in fact, that is the bookshop in which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, that makes no difference in the final analysis. I disagree with all of the reasons you're mad at me. I mean, after all, I have the street map here, if that might be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning home from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account that it was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Could that be true?
My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Loy, sir, what you just said? Absolutely, it absolutely could be right. Why is she in the jury? Are we going to talk about this at some point?
Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment?
Don't answer that, by the way. We'll figure it out.
Well, obviously we looked into that.
Turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meerschaum Street going east. And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh.
Forgive me for pouring a libation. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown. The way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus.
Oh man, the way he insults you. So hot. You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you. I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Damn, poor dude got shot. I definitely think vampires are hotter. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and don't even try.
What did I say? I've had enough of this for now.
Beg your pardon, terribly sorry, would you mind repeating that? Mr. Naruto, we mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, The members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Ah, she's absolutely right. We must think. We must consider this assertion just put forward by the defense and prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Sozaki-san must have had, but I guess we have to. Assertion made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed. Blame yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. Could have taken Calabash, yeah. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing a location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
I feel you, Paperstar. Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime. But, yes, I got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception, so he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. I don't believe this. Oh my god. Ryu, you get the worst luck, dude. I feel bad. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors? Get up, dude. It's fine. But even if that is the case, I agree with Lord Bansi. Wholeheartedly and in every way. Wholeheartedly and in every way. I know. We, the members of the jury, are completely convinced now. Very well, in that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty! Guilty!
Well, cool. That was fast. I guess it's time for another summation examination. Yeah, the jury's leaning is unanimous. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably. I agree. Mr. Naruhodo, get up, do a summation examination. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. So one last, yes. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you assent to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written to the antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Pullman? Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whip now. Miss Onkus refused to throw in the alley. Throw in the alley. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. The jurors' contentions. For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he? If he said that a woman within green collapsed before his eyes, well, I can only have been the victim. That man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter.
The poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing.
Your books, yes, night shop that, but bourbon books, no, not worth a visit.
What? Only minor exceptions to reason finding
Defending guilty are all too clear.
stabbing occurred. There were only two people at the scene with the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now. Ugh, why did he have to run away like that? Are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker nobody can see? It's impossible. How could I possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Naruhodo, there's no time. This is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue, yes, I know we have to turn the tide. Well, four of them at least. Exactly. We have no choice to forge forward.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord. I just need to keep this. Yep. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it. Ah, you can. You got me at the helm. Can I press them? I can I?
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yeah, I have... You're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. It was all going swimmingly until you started fusking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry. Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals. Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge. Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that hurt you, and you would say... Well, anyway, I don't know about the latter, but at least I'm in the clear now. I'm free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind given our awkward history. Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. First now. Yeah, what's up with Germa? For like a second I thought this was Germa, but it's not Germa.
Hold it!
It is! That's who it is! That Lady First is officially Germa. You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking at him. Well, quite, that's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly, that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. Let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman. Why, of course he does. If he misses stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But that's a lie. But if that's a lie as you're suggesting, don't you think you would have concocted something more credible? Well, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? I can tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it. I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated there was no one else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could have possibly committed this awful crime. Ugh. No one else could have done it. The accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple.
Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit.
Oh my, you are too kind, my lord.
Well, for her.
Hold it!
You can't deny there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it, Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went there or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows that he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold. The way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is this all true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is he went home along Briar Road. I've given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical way he might have gone the Calabash Roadway, some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Roadway, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. Yes, a good reason. Well, I think that's a hint. Alright, you...
Hold it!
Whatever is the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garrideb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room. The master's wife? Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand. Oh, God. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you've been selected for the jury in this trial, you mean? Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, does he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely he must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit such a crime as this? Oh my goodness me, yes, he's just the sort. What? Spending all that time in his dark and dingy room sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on his shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard of them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How do people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm, nothing more. Well, you just call him a worm, so... Anyway, we gotta be careful about this, inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. I'm pretty sure you can't. If you have any opinion...
Hold it!
A man's life is on the line here, sir. Well, this will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. Huh? Well, I see you wouldn't be son, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I'll go to the union every morning to find out what he's doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk it is. I don't know what voice to give that dude at all. So you were digging roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it's just around the corner from where it all happened. By the old bookshop it was. What? Another coincidence? That's right. Meerschaum Street it was. Meerschaum Street. On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets. Square number 5. I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. Point in that. How do we get this business? Please, sir, it's important. Oh. He couldn't have taken Meerschaum Street home.
Objection!
Those 2 statements are clearly at odds with one another. At odds, counsel. Explain yourself. Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear. What? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3? Oh, me, sir? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impassable. Means the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road. Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir? Well, yes, can't argue with that really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken a longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that might be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but you see now that he had no choice. Yes!
My lord, my judge, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may. Yes? I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man is guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. What about you, sir? Who, me? Well, alright then. There's a hole in the prosecutor's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I say. I'm inclined to agree. Why limit it to the argument, really? Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo, that was wonderful. Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It's strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves whether their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop downing Mr. Natsu. We might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Anzeeks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to present. But whatever means we have it. Yes, Machiavelli. On with it. Sorry, fold did you say? Fold what? No, what I said was hold it. What I want to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books they have there, yes. Enjoy reading them over a nice cup of tea. That's my daily routine, you see, same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. And at what time did you visit your books the day in question? I was picking up books in there all afternoon, and it would have just been just before 5 that I left. But yep. Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry, not after the dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It was worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when Smith slipped. Oh my god. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute, let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road? That's right, I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way to get back from your books. Turn number 6, I must insist. You add that sit. Yep. Sorry, extremely sick. No, but. Oh lord. Whoops. Lost my place there. Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. Flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2? Juror number 6? My, whatever do you mean, sir? This entire argument that I'm about to make is predicated on the Ace Attorney fact that everybody wears the same outfit all the time. It's just so funny to me. Kind of ridiculous, really. Unbelievable. Not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. Then he then returned home on foot. But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, we are well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously. I'm sure you heard juror number 6 is account of what happened to him that day. Same afternoon, there's somebody else apart from the victim.
was wearing a green overcoat and fell over it on the icy streets of the neighborhood. Oh my. My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to the hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of your eyes was a jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today? This game is so good, but like, these are Deus Ex Machinas. Like, this is such Deus Ex Machinas. Like, even more egregious than what I already know the series for. The odds of this are so astronomically low. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. But look at that. My goodness me. Huh? Sorry, you need a pee? Oh my god. You know, in the bathroom, in the washroom. And crucially, precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodging. What are you peeing for, chum? What are you pissing for? You'd be taking a piss all the damn day, all the fucking night. You'd be taking a large piss right now, Lou. And to do what? To empty your barrels? Chum. My good chum. The crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my. How do you like it? You idiot, old man. If you hadn't been so daft as to be wrong. Oh, right. You idiot, old man. If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago. What are you pissing for, old boy? And really, what were you thinking wearing such a paddling coat? What did you say to me? It's the crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days, Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? It's a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it? My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but... You'd like to change your leaning, I presume? I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you. I would too. What? Is it a crime to change your mind, is it? Well? Oh, I like him better when he's jolly. Well, the summation examination has concluded with a rather large. Thanks for the host, colonist. I appreciate it. The eyes to the nose for. So the nose have it. Not guilty, they say, which means we no longer have a consensus among the juries. Trial will continue.
Objection!
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Eh? Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you'd excavated, sir. That's right. It took me the whole day and they paid me a merely 2 pence for it. 2 pence. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue now. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than 2 meters, that's not much at all.
In other words, the distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? Eh? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. And did you perchance erect... I'm just 12 years old. A sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the sight of your works? What? I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a chance hope of passing anyway, and we just turn on you gentlefolk when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time. Hughes is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. Ah, is that true? Is it? The incontrovertible truth is just that the books were purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodging, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Crushed in a single sentence. And old man. Old man, you can talk. You say that around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time? Oh, can't say I remember. You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man the accused saw. I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Order, order, Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. My lord, if you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination? It's not my role to speak, I guess, huh? I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see how himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. Ugh. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. Oh man, take it all off, Daddy. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. And your eyes are just so... Look at his eyes. What the hell? Anyway. Wait, what are you talking about? My lord. Prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. Its next witnesses? Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. No, like, okay. Like, Edgeworth does not have as good eyes as Van Zeeks. Not even close. And which Von Karma are we talking about here? Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Alright, no matter who's in... Yep. I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. Manfred? I don't know about that either. Like, I guess he's undefeated, so I guess he is kind of like the Manfred of this game. Like, he's... You know, he's not Manfred, so, like, it's fine. I've cosplayed as Manfred. That was a long time ago, though. 5 years, I think. Oh lord, another woman. Oh, looks like a fusion of the two. I don't even know if I see that very much. I guess I can kind of see it. No, yeah, no, I get what you're saying. The hair is more Edgeworth. Mannerisms and general regalia definitely scream a little bit of Manfred von Karma. Yeah, you're right. Oh god, it's me. Hand me meal. Don't choke him. Constable Roy, the Roly beat. Roly beat? She is adorable, yes. I don't get the pun. Constable Roly beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir. Poor thing. And I'm Miss Beat. Patricia's my name. And I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. I want to see their profiles. She's gorgeous. Oh my god. Oh, they did this pun again, huh? Now I get it, Pat and Rolly. I'm Mrs. B. Patricia, my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. Oh my gosh, yeah. What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. Oh no, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems... Oh yeah, I know, like Cops on the Beat. Yep. But I didn't understand it was a two-part name at the time because I didn't advance the dialogue. And I understand beat is in like Cop on the Beat. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. This being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Indeed. Apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, and check the meters are reading through. There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet. I would have collapsed long ago. I don't know if I would walk 20 miles a day at a convention. I think my most is like 10. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. But the London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. God, just... Oh my god, just... Oh, didn't even do that. Such beautiful eyes you have, especially that little pout. This man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat? That's right, sir. Isn't it, Crowley? Constable Rowley Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir. What a great witness he's going to be. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, Trip, please. Yeah, see, I started tracking my steps, like, right after I started going to conventions. Yes, sir. Oh, Lord almighty. God, she's so cute. It was our wedding anniversary, and Rodian was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, then the other scattered something before running off. It ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. Oh, my phone tracks my steps for me, Blue, and it converts that into mileage. Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say. He didn't... This policeman and his wife are claiming to possibly video when Mr. Nelson made the scene. Oh, it's not something that, like, I only do for cons. It just happens. My phone just automatically does it every day. If the testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed. It's death knell, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place. An unfortunate but chancing, and on your wedding anniversary too. Oh, I know! But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed. Indeed, however, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of those witnesses, a policeman no less, so you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. What the witnesses saw. Yeah, okay, press.
Hold it!
Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling? You've probably seen his uniform on the ground, so, like, you know. Well, I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. Actually, I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, Rolly, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for the meal after you finish your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest. After spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. Oh, I missed that. I'll serve, and as long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and queen to the end. And my warrant card, sir, proves that I'm a London copper. There's the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all of us policemen on our sworn duty. Patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man in the hall. And for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail, without a grumble, in the hall. Because I know the plodding of my boots in the hall is all not Londoners need to know and to feel safe, and need to hear to feel safe and secure in the hall. So, fighting and crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up with a lot to be being married to a Bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh my god, look at her. She's just adorable. Oh, Pat. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold. If a little over the top, perhaps? And then, kindly describe them. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. Anyway. Two silhouettes. That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. I think it happened once. I vaguely remember it happening once. But maybe I'm wrong. You watched them more recently than I did, so... There was a rather plump-looking figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in the print, and Mr. Natsume. Yes, yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at that time there was nobody else nearby? Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Oh yes, that's right. Of course, there was a light fall on the ground. The Briar Road is dead straight, and you can see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said? Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day, every day keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly.
They're still maintaining that there was no one else around other than the victim when the attacker. Startling to see. It's starting to seem like that's how it must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? Fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed?
All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, then the other scattered something before running off.
Oh, I forgot.
Hold it!
Scattered something, what do you mean by that? Oh well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time, but when we got closer we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? Yes, sir. What? Ah, yes, that's right. It was some old books.
I see. All books.
Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them all around where the victim lay on the pavement.
Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print.
That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the
Hold
deed.
it!
Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. He was the man in the dock without question, sir. The mustache, the hunchback, cat-like eyes, the tout mouth, the snub nose, everything. Any more insults you want to throw in? That's right, he looked down at that poor defenseless woman with his terrifying, intense eyes, and then suddenly threw his books at the pavement and ran away. I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please continue. Yes, sir. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help? No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife one after all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Ah, yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beak to go. I was off duty by that point, but a Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt it besides to say and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Boot. Preserving the scene of crime is a task of considerable importance.
That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what exactly do you mean by the right police box? Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat, but tell Patricia the way the police box for the beat incident. For the beat the incident fell under, so she go and report it. I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more pertinent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
Thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush, isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir.
Let's move on, shall we? It's definitely the judge.
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have given a suitcase face for the light of the guy's street lamps, would you? We absolutely oh, don't kill him! Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. My husband already told you the fog was only light, didn't he? Yes. And what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe.
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. It's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm. Yes, alright, I take your point. Now could you stop shaking your husband down? The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain it was the little Japanese man we saw. Aren't we, darling? This is getting more violent.
What?
Yes, it was the accused, and make no mistake, the mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir.
I suppose. Ozeki-san, they saw, yeah. That's it, is it? That's her entire testimony?
What do you think, Mr. Natsume? Well, I hate to admit it, but yeah. Mr. Natsume running. Yes, I feel the same. So if that's true, where does it leave us? Members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict under this testimony. Oh no. What? Kazuma-sama were here. What are you trying to say? I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else with evidence. Yep, discredit them. Okay. Discrepancy in this. Yes. Oh my god, that's so much dialogue for between testimonies. Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Oh, yes, of course. What is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... Seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Well, with it... What? No. It's... Oh, no, it's really not that at all. My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything. Like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? Well, the names of every single one I could. Every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
That will do, Miss Beat.
No, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for just insulting us, don't think for a minute that Rowley will.
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fist down.
Perhaps you would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Miss Beat. Mrs. Beat.
Might that
Please you.
Oh, thank you, my lord. That set things nicely.
Wouldn't it, darling? Oh, there we go. Oh my god, really? What the hell? Don't make it too easy for me, game. That was like a Dual Destinies level contradiction right there. So, you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right, I remember all of them. Picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's It Yearnings, A Meal for Someone, and The Thingamy Something.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Speed. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no, what flaw? I'm Gemma, I'm British.
Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there are only 3 books, not 4. Kinda does. Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can see, there are only 3 books.
But no, that can't be. I saw them. Oh, I know it is. Yes, you can't fool me.
Sorry?
It's that big old lump of a dead body.
The lady's so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book, that's all. Try to remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her size. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But Mr. Natsume could not possibly have dropped the 4 books you described.
Why not?
Fascinating. And from your short tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume. Oh, Rose is back on the idol manager grind. Evidence.
Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate.
It's the receipt. He only bought 3 books. Monsieur Lecoq. Monsieur Lecoq.
Take that!
The evidence is right here, in the form of this bookshop receipt.
From your books?
No, from his books. Yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
No.
Therefore, Mr. Natsume would have only dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, cannot be relied. Your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon. So it cannot be denied that even though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh, don't do love,
Objection!
don't do friends, I'm only after success. Don't need a relationship, I'll never... I don't remember what comes after that. It's plainly evident that is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? Where did you get that? What cannot be denied is that these two witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. Ah. So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? Ugh, sees right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony, in every respect. Oh, there were 4 books. You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found. But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right, only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say... What the hell? An updated autopsy? Oh my god. No, that's not... I know exactly what book that is. I already see the contradiction here. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. This is the 2nd color photograph we've seen. It's amazing how they went back to black and white. Order.
There, you see, look at that. Look.
Yes.
It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling? Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh yes, of course, the picture of Monsieur somebody or other.
Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, which I will send to to the counsel for the defense after this trial.
What's it, yearnings?
Transferee yearnings.
A meal for someone.
A meal for Gaboriau, in fact. And as the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details, and Mrs. Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Rolly? The gentleman paid me a... Did you hear that, Rolly? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless.
I don't want her to be bad.
But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4.
There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly the 4th book is which is shown. Is that which is shown in this photographic print? So, I know exactly what happened. The wife, Joan or whatever, of the dude. What's his name again? Let me get his name. Garadeb. Joan Garadeb. Yeah, Joan Garadeb was throwing books out of the window, was throwing books at her husband, and one of them flew out the window. I'm sorry, counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? Not at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim.
No, it doesn't.
The victim was holding her own book. I wonder, what came of that 4th book? Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. It's gonna say Garadeb, like, in the book or something. You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel. My pleasure, my lord. 2nd crime scene photograph. The 4th book, the updated autopsy report. Prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend, but your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into this demand.
You see, everything we said is true. Isn't that right, my— oh my god, you heard the neck snap on that one. Isn't that right, my darling? Yes, Pat, marry me, Pat.
So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is it the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You've heard all of the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in an entirely precarious position.
I know, but if I fight back the wrong way now, it could very well make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now? Raise an objection.
Objection!
I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend, it's over. The last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. Die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... ugh, I can't think of what I can.
If I may, Lord Van Zieks.
Oh, if I may, Lord Van Zieks.
Seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
Oh,
I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. It's no shame in that. Everybody is at one point. You'll have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable.
Mr. Naruhodo.
One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance. So, yeah, tolerance unless you're Japanese. So, the court will hear you, madam. Go ahead, Mrs. Zato, please. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further?
Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
See. And you believe this new evidence warrants further examination, do you?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think?
It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is in mind. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly... I'll do it now.
Oh, look at this. Look, it's been Valley Brett. You're right.
Terrible waste. Yeah. Well, that's that.
Yes, I understand. And thank you, Mrs. Zato. This is it. Zato-san must win us one last chance here. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord.
That was a good sprite. Very well, the defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that... It's this, I think. It has to be this. It's the...
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know. There's no way that the angry lady threw a knife out the window and hit the woman. That wouldn't happen. That doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't have enough force to go in to plunge through, so that can't be it. Alright. So I must assist you identify this clue at once. Oh, yes. It's, So, counsel, precisely where is this vital clue to the case, which this fourth book conceals?
Got it!
Got it.
I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question. The back? What do you... Good gracious! It's been burned to a crisp. So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponese friend? Oh, were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damaged some veiled clue as to what happened that day? Pray, do enlighten us all. Yeah, we're not learned. What truth does this charred book hide? A charred book? There's this one possibility here which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. An outside chance certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory. Don't keep us waiting any longer then, Counsel. Explain this theory. Its owner. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals startling truth about the book's owner. I beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor, after all. It's obviously hers.
The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of who the book belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers. Good gracious, how can you possibly? Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. Do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. Tell the court, who do you claim is the owner? John Garradeb.
Take that!
The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garradeb. The landlords? The landlords? Sorry, that was the wrong word. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but... all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today, is none other than Mrs. Garradeb herself. Oh my goodness. Me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garradeb's wife. I'm his maid. Delvinky? Things would go so much easier if you just dropped the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garradeb's house? I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir. I would never presume to keep note of the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say? You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garradeb's house. Good lord. What sort of incident, counsel? Judge Dumbledore. A fire, my lord. Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of it is I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. God, his sprites are so hot. By Jove, at the same time.
Objection!
Hear me! This is risible. Risible? This is risible. All you've told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire, in which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garradeb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garradeb even amid the flames. Oh, how awful! I can't even imagine. Oh my god, the irony. So horrid to the one you love. Can you, Rowling?
Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir.
Had all my favorite novels in that case. As soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Even though I started hurling things at me. There was I, back up against the window under heavy fire, incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. The man had his back up against the window and he had burning books thrown at him? Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown to the window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime? No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there's no report of the Garadev's window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no sign of glass when we visited the Garadev household. It is not conceivable that the window was open at the time, and not even remotely. Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Yes. Because the smoke. I believe it's a possibility, my lord. That's quite enough. Or is that going to be Mr. Garadev? Oh, it is her. That's quite enough. Well, I hope that everyone can see what you are now, you little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward, a mean coward. Really? And that little tip set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as maid for this appearance's sake. How could you? Nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you've done is sully our family's name. No, I assure you that was never my intention. Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears, that's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable. Oh my god. You're right. Here we go. How long have we sat here now, listening to this Nipponese spitting out his fancy foreign theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with a mustache, and he ran away from the scene too. I do declare you're right. It's true? Yes. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Makes sense to me. Sorry, what's that? What's that? Well, it appears, ladies and gentlemen, that the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Zieks? What is your position, Lord Van Zieks? In truth, my lord, I feel that these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. Then one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. No, wait! The mystery fourth book still hasn't been... Oh, the leg is here. If books are your predilection, my learned friends, study them on your own. What? No, forgive the discourtesy this time? Van Ziek's thighs save lives. That is the raid message, I think, unless I can come up with something better. Or someone else can come up with something better. Someone write that down, please, because I'm going to forget it. You will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty!
Another summation examination? Oh my god.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that unambiguous response. That's twice now. It's over. Mr. Naruhodo, don't give up. Mr. Zato, have you forgotten the battle isn't over yet? Another one? Defense has the right to another summation. Oh lord. This is like having 2 divination seances, which is not unheard of. The defense asks right... You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve? I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and be determined. And determined. Da 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 da. Da na 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 da 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 da. To be continued. Doot doot. Do you guys want another intermission, or should I just keep going?
Intermission? I'll take a quick $5. I need to, like, I want to get some water anyway, so I'll just, you know, I'll do that real quick.